Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, so Milt Stegall said it was a shame that he had to wear a mask to cover his face, and I'm looking
right,
at and I'm looking
so beautiful,
right,
just
but I'm looking
him.
at your beard. You were my mom's favorite. You and Bobby Hall.
Bobby,
Yeah, you're probably my mom's hall pass.
nice.
Why are you covering that face
How
up
about
with this?
that?
Yes,
What's
my
the
wife
deal?
asks me all the time. Yeah, my boys, you know, they're not boys, man. My men, they asked me to grow one, and they both have them. And so I said, yeah, sure. And it's just something to do, something to play with. Need to change.
You're keeping it though, obviously.
Right now, for sure. Week's time, I'm headed back south. You never know; it might come off. But yeah, it's just more than anything, Rod. It's just challenged by the boys, my men, and I accepted it and seen it.
I think it's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. But in the
Yeah.
winter, it's gonna get probably has already. Get some icicles hanging in it.
I'm not sure.
We'll find out.
You're right. Over the next 6 days.
Now, the other thing, I mean, I've always respected you a long time, but these Grey Cup weeks, I knew you'd had one late night and the next morning you're in a school speaking. I'm like, how do you keep up the pace? You know, you're doing community appearances, you're doing the parties, you're doing this.
Yeah, I think you pick your spots. I think early on, Rod, it was, you just had to, you're pedal down and buried and you're going as fast as you can. And that's not the case anymore.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Nathan's going to get paid either way it goes. Now you have to pay. That's 2 to 3 guys on that team, or possibly 1 or 2 receivers that won't be there. Or I know Sook's one of your top-end, high-paid linemen, and you have other guys. So who are you getting rid of that's going to hinder the team to bring Nathan back? So when you look at the skill set of what he brings, it's going to be a lot less talent around him next year.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is. Hello, everybody. Canada, watching on Game Plus TV all across the United States. U.S. sports fans of the Canadian variety. We're on WQEE Radio, Metro Atlanta, as you all know down there, 99.1 FM. Live streaming on YouTube and all the rest. We continue in our coverage from the 109th Grey Cup, the Canadian Football Championship here in Canada's Queen City. And we're coming to you live from Ballers Rec Room, the heart of the Dewdney Strip. We've got our lovely and talented co-host Darren Moose DuPont here. If there's been anybody busier than the Commissioner Randy Ambrosi, it might be you, Moose, getting ready for the big party. The best party of this week is right here at Ballers on Friday night. It really is. A lot of football talk going down. Here in the warm-up, we're going to cover a lot of other things. First, a lot of NHL for the hockey fans tuning in and all the rest. But how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, and you know what? The weather's warming up. I think all the way to like -3 maybe on game day Sunday. So it's good. Life is good. Everybody's getting into town now. Between yesterday, the players and everybody arriving, and then today, everything kind of getting going. So it's good.
It's picking up, and I'll be honest, before we hit the show horn and get right down to it, Kelly, one of the wonderful owners and the manager here, said, hey, Rod, I unlocked the door for you here. How'd you like the fact I unlocked the door? I said, it's not -30 anymore. Thank you. Warmed up to a level. Almost died out there yesterday.
Waiting, yeah.
Yeah, but it is picking up. I was already at community appearance today. Check my Facebook and Twitter, and you'll see that. But Moose likes to dive head first into these things, the cocktail parties, the lavishness. I'm past that. It's my 21st Grey Cup. I'm going to the lake.
Yeah.
I'm going to the lake in the next couple of days because it's going to get banging in here.
Yeah.
Right in this town. All right. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we will
How about that?
take care of business. Our guests are already here today. Farhan Lalji from TSN, Dave Naylor from TSN in Hour 1, Rod Smith in Hour 2. So we thank the boys for coming down from the broadcast crew that will call this game. Before we jump into point 1, Placeline, Muncie, Indiana. Curtis Rourke completed 12 of 16 passes for 169 yards and threw a touchdown pass for Ohio as the 8-3 Bobcats beat Ball State 32-18 on Tuesday night for their 6th straight win in Mid-American Conference play. I'm bringing that up because I told everybody to watch it last night on national television, and then it wasn't on. This is the little brother of the star of the BC Lions, Nathan Rourke. He's playing at Ohio, and they say his little brother Curtis is going to be even better than his big brother. So I had to give that update and an apology for anybody who may have tried to watch it. Were you one of them?
Yeah, I tried to tune it in, early on, and it wasn't on.
Wasn't there. We actually went to a movie last night, Black Adam, starring The Rock. Moose and I went. It's almost 2 hours long. Here's my review. I had to wait 30 minutes into the movie to see The Rock. I'm like, I came here to see The Rock. Remember, I jumped out of my seat when I thought it was a guy, and it wasn't. It was another guy.
The
You're
first,
like, no, calm
the
down.
first badass guy.
You're that looked like him.
Yeah.
I was like, ah. So after the 2 hour movie, I turned to Moose. I said, I have no idea what I just watched, but at least it was The Rock.
It was entertaining. Lots of action. You kind of wonder what's going on here because it's not familiar characters, but it was good. It was good. Takes a little bit to digest.
So, yeah, go if you love The Rock. From Rod Monroe watching, he says, great lineup again today, Rod. Yeah, that's because of your son, Clark. Thank you, Rod, for sure. He's done a great job all week long with these guests. He hit the horn. We're going to start with hockey because it's going to be ball for all the rest of the way. Number one, the morning skate. Make it 10 straight wins for the New Jersey Devils. They extended their win streak with a 5-1 win over Montreal Tuesday night. For the Leafs, John Tavares scored his 400th career NHL goal. Toronto beat Pittsburgh 5-2. In the other games that I was paying attention to, the Vancouver Canucks almost blew that big lead at Buffalo, but they won 5-4. Florida Panthers down Washington 5-2, and I cannot wait to get back to FLA Live Arena because they got a good team there. If you watch the highlights, they're having fun in Sunrise. And the San Jose Sharks beat Vegas 5-2. You had your score app, if I may, out checking the scores last night. So do you have do you have a thought on the Leafs win last night?
No,
at Pittsburgh.
Good win. To get everybody back to and get a good night in goal, I thought was good. John Tavares setting milestones. I think it was his 400th last night goal. So some big things there, and starting to get the ups and downs, the crazy ups and downs. Any team right now, if you're looking for your team to find some consistency and be good, you got to get rid of the crazy ups and downs, right? And I think the Leafs are starting to balance out a little bit.
They're like top 6 records in the NHL already.
Yeah.
That didn't take long.
No.
Just string a couple wins together, and they got a great team. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, you mean The Rock, future owner of the Calgary Stampeders? That's part of the reason why I'm going to the lake. I talked to Camco this morning. That's where I'm going. I'm not getting into the rumors. They're going to get out of control. And, none of them are going to matter, or probably 99% won't come to fruition. But it does remind me of our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies. Where, I think we worded it this way, right, Clark? Will Bo Levi Mitchell sign with the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Bingo!
He's the 2-time MVP of the CFL. He was traded from Calgary to Hamilton on Monday, but he's going to be a free agent come February. And the question is, will he sign there? I'm voting yes. You?
Yes.
Okay.
Not till after free agency, but yes, he'll sign.
Case closed. Okay. By the way, the Telemiracle 47 50-50 raffle is live now. If you spent any time in Saskatchewan, you know what this is all about, raising funds for the Kinsman Foundation. The raffle starting at $100,000. The winner will, of course, take home half of that. You can go to telemiracle5050.com right now to buy tickets. I know that we're in 70,000 homes in Saskatchewan with Game Plus TV, roughly in or around there. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So you're watching right now in Saskatchewan. That's where you need to be to buy your tickets at telemiracle5050.com right now. And you need to be 19 years of age or over. We've raised over $1 million through this lottery for the last 2 years. This is the third year, so please help us out. Before we go any further, NHL top 5, bottom 5 time. Are you ready? Pay attention because I want to know if you agree or not.
Okay.
Number 1 team in the National Hockey League, it is the Boston Bruins. Best start in franchise history. Who's their coach? Oh, yeah, Jim Montgomery. Hashtag recovery works, y'all. Way to go, Jim. Number 2, the New Jersey Devils. They're number 2 in the NHL, 10 wins in a row or 10 wins in a row. Can't go against the New Jersey Devils. It's fun to watch. Tom Cochran called them a souped-up World Junior team. That should be their slogan.
Yeah.
The number 3 team, the Vegas Golden Knights, number 1 in the West. I don't think it'll last, but for now, they've been pretty good. Number 4, the Carolina Hurricanes. This might finally be their time. And you picked them for the Stanley Cup Final.
I did.
So you're a believer.
Yeah, I am.
And number 5 team of the National Hockey League, the Winnipeg Jets, 7-2-1 in their past 10. They might be what we think they are. So keep giving her, Winnipeg. Your bottom 5 teams in the NHL in reverse descending orders. Number 28, the Vancouver Canucks. Getting better, but they're still the Canucks. 29th team, the St. Louis Blues. Turn out the lights. The party's over. Time to go home.
Oh, no.
Number 30, the Ottawa Senators. They are who we thought they were. Number 31, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who's the next coach to be fired? You're on that train. You think it might be Brad Larson, the former Swift Current Bronco. At number 32, the worst team in the NHL is the Anaheim Ducks. I'm sorry, but your record is what you are. Bill Parcells said it first. John Lynch made it famous. Anaheim, you're the worst team in the NHL. Pick it up. Our NHL coverage is brought to you by Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They're hiring now. Find out everything you need to know about Bronco at broncoplumbing.com and their Facebook and Instagram pages. And also, a word from our sponsor, Ito Japan. Ito Japan's fast and friendly service, plus online ordering options, is easy and convenient when you're on the go. Point 3, Hillary Knight and Alex Carpenter scored in a shootout to lead the USA past Canada 4-3 in the opener of the women's hockey rivalry series in Kelowna. TSN showed that instead of the college football game with Ohio, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
American goaltender Nicole Hensley stopped all 4 Canadian players in the shootout. She also stopped Marie-Philippe Poulin on a penalty shot in overtime. The 7-game series continues Thursday night in the Loops. Can somebody tell me, is Hillary Knight related to Florida Panthers goalie Spencer Knight? Anyone? You wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Hey, Ballers Rec Room and Twisted Tea hosting the biggest party during Grey Cup week. It's right here, featuring players and the Grey Cup trophy. You can get your tickets today at eventbrite.com. I noticed it's the #1 item coming up now at Eventbrite for the Grey Cup.
It really is.
People are into it.
Yeah, and tickets are rolling fast, less than 100 now, and getting everybody confirmed. Everybody that comes on this show, too, has told us they're coming Friday.
What else do we have here? I had written down Blue Jay. Oh, here it is. Blue Jays notes they're designating outfielders Ramel Tapia and Bradley Zimmer for assignment. Tapia drove in 52 runs last season, while Zimmer primarily served as a late-inning defensive replacement. Blue Jays, as we know, swept by the Mariners in the playoffs. And Buck Showalter is the first skipper to win a Manager of the Year award with 4 different teams. He's the winner of this year's National League honor after leading the New York Mets to a 101-win season. The American League award goes to Cleveland's Terry Francona. Holy smokes, are we flying through the quick 6 show topics here? Are you okay? Are you dizzy?
Oh, yeah.
Are you dizzy?
I know, right?
We're covering it real fast.
How about that?
A word from New York Fries. They're a proud member of the Calgary community, and to give back, they're hosting free public skating opportunities at ice rinks around Calgary, open to families and the general public in support of Kids Sport Calgary. Visit FamilySkateYYC.com for a full list of times and locations. Presented by New York Fries. We've literally got through all of our topics, so I'll swing the gate open on the Lulu, the loony bin. That's the comments here. I had a lady come up to me today at Harbor Landing Village. It's a retirement community. She's probably watching right now. She was like, Rod, I watch your show every day. So thank you. She goes, I don't comment like a lot of these other people. She goes, but I watch every day. So that was nice. Where do we take it from here?
How was the event this morning?
It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, I love when, there's a lot of people saying the Grey Cup buzz hasn't really taken over this town. It will eventually. It's the Canadian Football Championship. It always does. But this place started Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're bringing down little kids from a daycare. They've set up a TSN Sports Center type set.
Cool.
And kids sit there and read the sports, and they're bringing in Rough Riders alumni, which I'm a member of, and different guys every day. And we're meeting with the kids, and then there's the senior citizens that are there. They're getting them together. It's really cool when you put old people with young people.
That's neat.
It's fun when you do that.
That's cool. And when you go to these different places, you get in the spirit of Grey Cup a little bit, right? I mean, I was at the Delta Hotel this morning downtown, the host hotel, I think, or one of the host hotels, and it's decorated up. And you walk in, you're like, oh, okay, this feels like Grey Cup now. You
Right.
see everything everywhere. It's just not all over town, and that's hard to do, but you're right. It'll start picking up.
It's there's always this. Phil 3223 on YouTube says, I'm curious if Bo Levi would sign with the Lions because Nathan Ork is trying out for the NFL. These guys will have the inside scoop, Naylor and Farhan, on probably what Bo is going to do. But from a Grey Cup thing, we can sit and talk about The offseason and the offseason.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Lewis sat in that chair yesterday, the Hall of Famer, and said he played in 3 Grey Cups. They were all indoors. 2008 in Montreal, 2012 in Toronto, 2014 in Vancouver. And I don't like the cold. I've never liked the cold. It's not just because I'm in Florida now. I don't like the cold. So I say we should play in those domes every year. But it gets lost in those big cities.
Yeah.
And you come to cities like this and you realize why you got to have Grey Cups in the heartland, which is the theme of this Grey Cup. You got to have them here.
You do.
Once a decade or whatever.
You have to. You have to get into those communities. And even Calgary, being as big as it is, their love for football, you get all the businesses taking part and putting signs in their windows, and it becomes a big deal. And you get into Winnipeg and even Hamilton, and it's going to go back there next year. So there's lots of neat opportunities. But you're right. There's something about those domes when you get warm weather and everybody's comfortable and the amenities are at the, the best they can be. But no, it's going to be a great Grey Cup.
I invite everybody to comment in. If you will. And again, we've got Dave Naylor coming up, Farhan Lalji, and that's in hour 1. In hour 2, it'll be Rod Smith, who will call the game. I believe he called last year's Grey Cup. I'd have to ask him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little not out of sorts, but I'm trying to put a lid on my part in this Grey Cup. Because I'm sitting here, I'm getting busy. And I'm running all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm nobody. When I was involved, how did I do it? I have no idea.
I know. I can't
So
imagine.
I had a breakdown.
Well, I can't imagine.
That's why I drank so much.
Right.
I had to have a driver.
Well, I see Lenny doing all the driving
about
around
that?
here. That's just for TSN. And, I see all the different events. And every day there's something. I've got, you look at people that are up in Saskatoon at the pancake breakfast. They've got to make the drive this morning up to Saskatoon to be there bright and early for that and come back and do something else when they're back here. So they're trying to fit a lot into a short amount of time.
For our American viewers and listeners, this is Canada's Super Bowl. That's what's going on here right now in the Queen City. That's why we're here. And it's going to get wild. I am seeing, in less than a minute here, a lot of talk about Tom Brady in the CFL. I guess he dropped that he wants to come play in the CFL because he wins everywhere but America, because he won in Germany on the weekend. People don't actually think he's going to come here. He doesn't like the cold. He said it. He's like me. He said he's never going to be caught dead in the Northeast ever again.
He's not going back to New England. He's going to go further north than that? No,
Exactly.
Not happening. But it is kind of fun to think about.
Somebody just dropped something?
Yeah, my phone fell off the table.
It's kind of funny, but I wish he hadn't said it because he's got people actually thinking he's going to come to the CFL. Never say never, I guess. Maybe he needs the money.
Yeah,
Maybe he
right.
wants to win a championship. Okay. See you later, Moose.
Later.
All right, we got Farhan Lalji in next from TSN. That's going to be great. This has been the warm-up, and you're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps. Learn more at WorkSafeSask.ca.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to RodPetersonShop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at RodPetersonShop.com.
We are live back at Baller's Rec Room, right in the heart of the Dewdney Strip, and the best Grey Cup party is here, hosted by Twisted Tea. All the CFL and TSN stars will be here. By the way, just ahead of Farhan Lalji from TSN, breaking news today, the Toronto Blue Jays had traded outfielder Teoscar Hernandez to the Seattle Mariners for pitchers Eric Swanson and Adam Macko. The 30-year-old Teo batted .267 with the Jays last season, 25 homers, spent 6 seasons in Toronto and won the Silver Slugger Award in both 2020 and 2021. He was a finalist this season. But we're here talking Grey Cup, Canada's Super Bowl. Farhan Lalji is with us from TSN. And we're explaining the show to you. Not only are we on TELUS Channel 924 in your beautiful province of British Columbia, we're on the radio in Atlanta, Farhan. 99.1 FM WQEE. Not
Beautiful.
joking. Live right now.
How about that? In Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
Looking forward to the runoff elections.
Absolutely. I'm okay talking football for the week here in Canada. Pull that mic right up to you if you don't mind, sir. Welcome to the Heartland. How's your week been?
Well, I just got here last night, so it's been cold. I was panicking to get out of town. I'd give myself about an hour to pack before I left. And at the start of that hour, the Nathan Rourke news came out. So now I'm in work mode. So I left myself about 10 minutes to pack for a week in Regina, which you know can be a challenge. So I am throwing stuff in the bag, you know, like my wife does when she packs to go places. Usually I'm pretty organized with my travel. I raced out of there, went to the Lions availability, then went to meet her at work to then drive to the airport, realizing I'd forgotten my big winter parka.
Whoops.
Which you kind of need one of those here. So she is FedExing it out to me, so I should have it tomorrow. So
I'm surprised somebody would have one around here with TSN on it. I know the one you mean, but
they're all being used.
Right. There's no extra ones. Yeah. By the way, before we go any further, it's funny you mentioned the Nathan Rourke news came down. We talked about his little brother Curtis last night. As you probably saw, Ohio won again.
Yeah, and he hurt his knee.
Yeah, and he threw 1 touchdown in the game. So for our viewers, what I love is how they do love the CFL in America. Nathan Rourke took this league by storm. The Canadian that played at Ohio, started with the Lions this year. What's next for Nathan Rourke?
Well, for Nathan, he's going to go try out with some NFL teams. There's been over 24 teams that have inquired about him. That doesn't mean 24 teams want to sign him, but they're probably, I would imagine he'll have somewhere between 8 and 10 workouts with different NFL teams, and that'll begin right away. The window opens for CFL players to go try NFL opportunities on November 21st, the day after Grey Cup. So he's got workouts scheduled for the Monday, Tuesday, the 21st and 22nd. They wanted to start right away so they could spread it out a bit, not really overload his foot by having, 5 workouts in 6 days or something like that. So he'll go through that process and see if the right situation's there, and if it is, that's what he's going to do.
Okay, so you're way more of a football guy than me. You coach it for the love of Pete, not to mention just covering it as well. My Florida football guys say this kid's got it. He's got NFL written all over him. What would be his expectation? He's not a number one, is he, in the NFL?
No, not day one, right? I mean, could he be better than Taylor Heineke or John Wolford or some of these guys? Yeah, absolutely. I do think that, right? But the point is, look, I get people on Twitter saying to me, well, why doesn't he do what Warren Moon did? There is no window for that anymore. There is nothing a quarterback could do in the Canadian Football League which would create such a market for him in the NFL that multiple teams would offer him big money to be a number one quarterback. That just doesn't happen in today's day and age. A lot's changed in 40 years. So the Warren Moon idea is fantasy. So the best case scenario for Nathan, the contract he signs is going to be 3 years entry level, right? It'll be a futures deal, $705K per year. But the issue is, how much of that first-year contract can he get guaranteed, right? Because he's never been to an NFL camp, so he can't get a big signing bonus, right? He's never signed an NFL contract, so there's a limited pool which a team can give to all of those guys, right? So that's not really going to define it. It's, can you get a couple $100,000 of that first year's contract guaranteed? So that's the financial part. The other thing is he needs kind of a clear path to number two. A legitimate opportunity that you're not going to be in there competing with a $5 million a year veteran backup or a $10 million a year veteran backup that's, played 60, 70 games in the NFL, or a team that's going to draft a quarterback in the first 2 rounds of the draft or something like that. You don't want to be in that situation. So Geno Smith, for the sake of argument, everyone felt he was going to be a stopgap with the Seahawks. He's had a great year. So now let's say the Seahawks sign Geno Smith to an extension, and then rather than drafting somebody, bring in a guy like Nathan. Or the New York Giants. They've got Daniel Jones, who's had a good enough year where they've probably got to extend him, but then, you're not going to draft a guy because he's young enough, and then you bring in a Nathan Rourke behind that. Like a situation like that where there's a clear path to number two, and you've got enough of a investment from the team that they're going to keep you and look at you properly. And then you get a chance, someone gets hurt, you roll the dice and you become a starter and you don't look back, right? I think that's what he's trying to bet on himself by doing.
From some of our viewers, Phil Kershaw watching in Victoria, BC says, Farhan called the Nathan Rourke NFL workouts in the summer and took heat for it. Farhan talks facts, CFL.
Thank you.
From Oleg in Winnipeg, he says, I'm wondering why there's so much talk about crying Nathan Rourke. Zach Caleros just keeps quietly winning and being awesome.
He's got to be a Winnipeg fan.
Well, he's in Winnipeg.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what? And a lot was made about the tears and the emotion that he showed on the sideline. And, he had to have known he was leaving, and that's why he felt that way. No. Nathan Rourke was fully invested in the BC Lions this year. So to the point where when he got hurt, he could have just walked away, sat on that resume and gone through the tryouts. He, coming back and playing in a couple of games doesn't necessarily help his case. He was so invested in that team. He wanted to do everything for him. I think he felt that he played poorly in that game, which he kind of did in the first half, right? And he was really close to those guys. And, again, fully invested, probably felt like he let him down to a point. He said that as much yesterday. So I think the emotion that he showed was pretty genuine and authentic. I don't think it was big picture. He knew he was leaving. I don't think that.
We love following not only your reports on SportsCenter, but your Twitter feed of the groundswell of support behind the Lions in Vancouver. And then the playoff game, was it over 40,000?
No, it was about 31, I think.
They were loud, and it looked good.
Yeah.
Did that coincide with the Canucks collapse? Like, people are looking for a good story to go to? It couldn't have hurt.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, Vancouver's an event town, right? Which is what makes it hard for it to resonate over the course of a full season. They had that really good first night, but they also had the concert in town and everything like that, and everybody thought it would just kind of take off and follow for the entire year. And I think it got better. Certainly the fans that were there were much more engaged than we've seen in previous years. And then you saw it culminate in a pretty good engaged crowd for that Western semifinal. So does the Canucks, the Canucks aren't just bad, they're not likable. Like the organization, people are so sour with ownership on down that, but they've got still such a hardcore base that 3 wins and everyone's back on the bandwagon in Vancouver when it comes to the Canucks. But, it was a good event, and the Lions, especially with Nathan, are very likable. So I do think that a lot of people got re-energized and reconnected to the franchise this year.
So now if he leaves.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You hope enough good work has been done, and as much as Nathan Rourke gets the majority of credit, a meaningful amount of credit also has to go to the owner. And he's not going anywhere. So they will do as much as they possibly can to provide some consumer confidence, and not just the team itself, but the overall product, right? Dwayne Vanu is going to take over for Rick Lawlisher as president. Highly respected guy in CFL circles, has a sense of what to do to make things big, and they'll do everything possible that wasn't happening previously, right, under previous ownership. And with all due respect to the late David Braley, who was such a great ambassador of the Canadian Football League and did so much for so many franchises, in terms of what was needed in local connection and marketing and infrastructure and resources, that wasn't happening, under previous ownership. So these guys will do everything they can. And if there's a way to get it right, they'll do it. Nathan Rourke is a unicorn, right? Like, that guy's not happening again. If he comes back to the CFL, great, and maybe Curtis is that guy, but, I don't think we're pulling that rabbit out of a hat anywhere in the league year after year.
You make a good point, though, that Neil McAvoy and Rick Campbell are proven to know what they're doing.
They do,
so it's not to say they can't do it again. That won't be another Nathan Rourke, but they'll be a good team. I think we all agree they'll be a good team. Don Mitchell says it's too bad that the CFL isn't able to pay players in the $500K minimum range. Then the players could have an easier choice to stay in Canada.
Well, he'll get that. Like, if he stays, he'll immediately get an extension. They're going to tear up the final year of his rookie deal. He'll make more than $500,000 next year
in the CFL.
Yeah. Right? And so he'll probably be the second highest paid player in the league behind Zach Collaros. And there's this notion that the league needs to go to this marquee player idea,
like the 90s.
Well, like MLS.
Remember
does.
that?
Yeah,
okay.
No, for sure. But so in MLS, you get these aging European stars that can't play in Europe anymore, but they have name recognition, and they come over here, and because the league's so inferior, they do well. So what's that look like in the CFL? Tom Brady joked the other day, I think I got to go to Canada before my career's over. So what's that going to look like? Tom Brady, and it was a joke, he'll never come and do that, but let's say he was so desperate to play and no NFL team wanted him, and he decided to come up to Canada and go play in Toronto, at 48 years of age, right, and has no arm left. Like, is that what we're looking for, right? And if you're Nathan Rourke, and all of a sudden someone says, "Okay, we're going to pay you $800,000," is that enough to keep him from scratching that itch of the NFL? I don't think so. I think he wants to try it, knowing that if it doesn't work, I can come back and everyone will pay me lots of money. And the problem is that if you do the marquee player thing, every team thinks they've got one. Tell me another one. They don't need to pay Zach Collaros that kind of money to keep him in Winnipeg. He's 34 years old. The NFL's not calling. As good as he is, that's not a shot at him. So, imagine now, Cody Fajardo's the marquee player in Saskatchewan. Really?
Where else are they going to go?
Right?
Yeah.
We don't have that guy. That's what I say. Nathan's a unicorn. So I see why people think you can make the case for that. But if you have one and every team has one, every agent's going to think their guy's that guy, and they're not that guy.
And Don clarifies. He says he means for all players. Don, keep dreaming. This league's struggling to pay its players now, let alone 10 times.
Rod Pedersen makes all the money.
Yeah, and he's not feeling guilty about it either.
Attaboy.
Is it a disservice? I say this somewhat rhetorically to the CFL, to the Grey Cup, that we're talking Bo Levi on a Monday and Nathan Rourke on a Tuesday, and not Argos Bomber?
Well, we're talking Zach Collaros' injury, and we're talking Andrew Harris coming back, and we are talking Grey Cup, but this week kind of takes a while to build, and I know that they'd like to have a news blackout and all that stuff, but I got to be honest with you, there isn't enough news at a Grey Cup week. We kind of come in with predetermined.
You're milking
stories.
It all, yeah.
Yeah, so to get something else for a couple of days, we'll dive into the Grey Cup and tell all those stories for sure.
So last year I watched the Grey Cup in Florida with Brian Williams, and I got a tear in the eye.
Yeah.
Who's the new Brian Williams? Is it Nails? Is he doing it, or do we know?
The new Brian Williams will probably be James Duthie.
Okay.
Because I could see Duthie eventually being that quirky. With full love to Brian Williams, who I admire greatly.
He would love the term quirky. Brian would love that.
But now James is in Qatar at the World Cup, so we're not going to have him this year. It'll be the Kate Burness show, and Kate's awesome.
Nice.
But, at some point, James will be back with us next year, and I could see him being the next Brian Williams.
Love it. And what an honor that would be.
Wouldn't it?
But there is only one Brian Williams, though, right? All right. Farhan, this has been awesome. I appreciate the time, and stay warm. And hopefully your parka shows up.
It will. And you know what? I appreciate looking at you with your tan. You are the inspiration, my guy. Your Florida tan. I'm looking forward to one of those one day.
Yeah, come on down anytime. Thank you, buddy. All right. Have a good week. Farhan Lalji from TSN and David Naylor rolls in next. We are live on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, and on the Big Peach WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Have you subscribed?
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back, resulting in partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps. Find out more at WorkSafeSask.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
That is the site of the 109th Grey Cup this Sunday, Toronto-Winnipeg. There's not been a lot of talk about that clash. Lots of other talk going on. And there's breaking news today from the world of sports. The Toronto Blue Jays have traded outfielder Teoscar Hernandez to the Seattle Mariners for pitchers Eric Swanson and Adam Macko. We'll get into that a little later when we got stars like Dave Naylor here from TSN. How you doing, David?
Very well.
Welcome.
Very well. Good to be here.
Good. You're everywhere. The last I saw your face on television, was it the Bills facility? Was that before the division finals in the CFL?
I was there a week ago.
You're putting some miles on.
I am. I've been in the last couple of weeks. I've been Buffalo, Athens, Ohio, Champaign, Illinois, Winnipeg, and of course Toronto and Hamilton.
So you've had your eyeballs on Curtis Rourke. Who's better, him or his brother?
As a thrower at the collegiate level, his brother. And I've had conversations with the head coach and the offensive coordinator who were both there when Nathan was there. So the point of comparison is fair. And, the way they describe it is Nathan, and I didn't see Nathan a lot in college. I only saw him play live once in his senior year at Buffalo. But Nathan was a dual threat guy. Like, he was as likely to pull the ball down, run for 11 yards, and take a hit. Like, he was not a slider. He was almost like another running back on that team. And he was a decent passer, but in his completion percentage in college was 58.5. And a lot of times, I know that was one of the knocks on him coming even to the CFL is that some teams would look at that and say a sub 60% completion percentage in a league where he only got 2 downs. I don't know. Well, in that has evolved for him. Nathan Rourke has evolved in the style of play that he's bringing to the CFL, much different than he played in college, and his accuracy. His accuracy this year was just under 80%. The league record, it's not really an official record, but the highest standard in the modern times of the Canadian Football League is Ricky Ray in 2013, 77.3. Nathan Rourke was above that. So, all time, he was throwing the ball more accurately than anybody ever had. And, of course, we watched him. It's not like he was checking it down, 15 times a game. So that, I think, is why there's going to be so much NFL interest in him, is because they're seeing that he's a different kind of thrower than he was in college. Curtis is more of the pure thrower. He can run. He had a 60-yard run a couple of weeks ago, but he's more the guy who's going to take the ball, stand in the pocket, got a big arm, he's 6'5", and he can throw the ball all over the field. I mean, I've been amazed. I watched him practice when I was down there in Athens. He walked out, and I said, "How tall are you?" He said, "I'm 6'5". I had a 2-inch growth. I had a 2-inch growth spurt at 21, and I said, "Well, isn't that fortunate?"
Is that not way bigger than Nathan?
Oh yeah, Nathan's 6'2". Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. Curtis might be a smidge under 6'5", but when it's the first thing that strikes you about him when he walks out. And he's a little thin. Again, when I was standing there looking at him in practice, you can see there's lots of room to put on, some beef there. You can imagine that. But his coaches absolutely say he is a more polished thrower at this stage of his career, with 2 years of eligibility remaining, by the way. I mean, it's really interesting how far the Rourke brothers have come in the last 12 months, each of them, okay? Nathan, obviously, was a backup last year to Mike Riley, and, we saw him a little bit, but he's advanced and evolved considerably, really developed, used this opportunity. Curtis wasn't even the full-time starter last year, and the guy he split time with is now a tight end in the NFL. So, I mean, it was a very different offense. So, they've both worked with Rob Williams in Vancouver, who's on the throwing and the mechanics and all those kind of things. They've both taken great leaps forward. Nobody will be surprised if Curtis Rourke goes into the transfer portal at the end of this season and is playing in a Power 5 conference somewhere next year.
Wow.
That would be certainly possible. And I did some reporting on this. I talked to somebody who talked to an offensive coach in a Power 5 school who said to me that that guy's in the portal, my recommendation would be we go after him. I talked to somebody else at a Division I program, and the question I asked him was, do you think these 2 games on national TV where he threw for all these yards, has that really bumped up his stock in terms of potentially going to a Power 5 school next year? And the person said to me, no, it just confirmed what everybody already knows. Trust me, every Power 5 school has already done their homework on Curtis Rourke. They didn't just learn about him.
Not a surprise.
They didn't just learn about him last week because he was on national TV. So, I think it's really, really exciting with Nathan getting all this attention from the NFL, or whether he goes back to Vancouver next year, and Curtis continuing to progress. And, I mean, he's top number 11 in passing yards, I think, going into last week. I mean, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions or something like that. All of his metrics are impressive, and the only thing you could criticize him for is he's not doing it in the toughest not
yet.
Not yet. I mean, and Ben Roethlisberger came out of that conference, right? So it's not like guys never come out of that. The transfer portal wasn't, the way it is now. So Roethlisberger probably would have finished up somewhere else. But, we've seen guys plucked out of not from Power 5 schools, but beyond Division I, right? Guys like Joe Flacco, I think Carson Wentz as well, right? So it's not all about where you play, but that certainly can help.
You spoke of national television. I came home last night from Black Adam starring The Rock. Turn on my TV, no Ohio Bobcats. Who do I complain to about that on TSN? Is that you?
No,
you don't handle programming?
I can tell you this. that we have a guy at TSN named Kurt Burmester who
You just threw him under the bus?
I'm gonna throw him some roses petals here. He is the one who drives our college football coverage, and I can tell you that if the Ohio Bobcats are playing and it's not on TSN, it's not because we didn't try to make it happen. That's what I can tell you. Okay. So
Curtis is becoming a household name in Canada before he's even left college.
Yeah, and
because of television.
Yeah, because of television and because of the Nathan Rourke created more of a mania about one player in the CFL than I've seen in a long time. Like we were almost doing like kind of what I would say almost like obsessive coverage about him.
Somebody said Manziel would be the last guy.
Yeah, Manziel would have been the last. Yeah. And again, that was less organic, if you know what I mean.
And nor is positive.
Yeah, nor is positive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a train wreck, right? And in the NFL, and that's part of what was the fascination here. But this thing actually kind of sprung up organically, right? And I say we don't very much do obsessive coverage on CFL players. It's just not the way the league is. But we did on this one, and it was because we thought the audience and the interest and the hunger was there. It really took off, and so I think if Curtis was doing this on his own, didn't have a brothers in the CFL, we'd be excited about this. But I think the brother thing and the excitement with what Nathan's already done, and having played at the same school, it just. We don't get stories like this that come along very often.
Synergies.
Yeah, we don't get stories that come along very often.
By the way, a shout out from Ryan O'Radio. Thank you, Ryan. He's listening, opping the show down there. He runs the station, WQEE. He says, another great day of sports talk. Thank you, Ryan. And I hope everybody is entertained down there in Georgia. Jack in Vulcan, Alberta wants to know, was the Rourke boy's dad a great athlete? Do we know his story?
I don't believe he is. I talked to his name is Larry, and the parents have not done a lot of interviews, so I was very lucky to do one with. I spoke to both of them. I guess it was about week 3 when the Lions had an early bye week, and I asked Larry about that. He said that he never played football, but football was always his favorite sport. So when Nathan loved football, Larry was pretty happy about that, and he told me this hilarious story that when Nathan was, I think, 3, he was playing soccer, and kid on the other team starts dribbling with the ball, whatever, and everyone starts yelling, Nathan, get him, get him, get him. And of course, Nathan, I don't know if you know the story about the videotape.
No.
Okay, it's a Nathan Rourke story I'm going to share with you in a minute.
We got 90 seconds.
Okay, real quick. He runs out and he tackles the kid football style. And his dad goes, I loved it. And he goes, the other parents were horrified, but he goes, I loved it. And he goes, and it told me soccer wasn't going to be his thing. The most fascinating Nathan Rourke story, and we were going to do this story if he got into the Grey Cup. When Nathan was about 2 years old, he found a VHS tape in his home that was of the Green Bay Packers 1996 Super Bowl winning season. Okay, it had belonged to his dad before he was married. Just had it like in a box somewhere. Nathan has it, puts it in the VCR, and watches it, and then watches it again, and then watches it again, and then watches it again. And the next day he wants to watch. And so the mother has a rule: 30 minutes of TV a day for her toddlers. Okay. You can choose whatever you want, but it's only 30 minutes a day. Nathan Rourke watched that videotape every single day for about 3 years. No Wiggles, no Sesame Street, no age-appropriate television. By the time he was 5 years old, all he had watched was this video. He still has it with him today. He took it with him to Ohio. He has it at his home in Vancouver. And so we had a story planned about this videotape, and Nathan... which we're not going to air, obviously, now. We haven't shot it. It's not happening. Yeah. But it's an amazing story. And I actually think, beyond the kind of coolness of the story, that this is just my theory in development. If you take a young brain and expose it to something like that, you start to see patterns. You start to process information. I believe that Nathan Rourke's ability to see things on the football field began when he was a toddler. And his mother says, we joke about that was when he started watching film, but I don't think it's just, I'd love to hear a neurologist, obviously I don't have the qualifications to address this, but I am certainly of the belief that that's what started Nathan Rourke down that path. And the fact that he still has the videotape, he's kind of humble, but he's like, yeah, I guess it was kind of a cool thing and worked out for me.
Probably sleeps with it under his pillow. Yeah. You got 10 more minutes in your nails?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
David Naylor with us from TSN. He will be on the air Sunday's 109th Grey Cup. We'll be right back and get to your questions and comments for Nails right after this. You're watching on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and 99.1 FM WQEE.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to joint damage or even a permanent disability. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Welcome back live. We are at Ballers Rec Room, the site of the best Grey Cup party, hosted by Twisted Tea this Friday night. We are getting into the Grey Cup swing, and we have for one more segment TSN's Dave Naylor. I will tell you in hour 2, Rod Smith, the man who will call the 109th Grey Cup, will be with us. Nails, what is your role, if you don't mind me asking, Sunday?
My role on Sunday will be the insider segments, which really we roll these through Saturday, Sunday, right through the pregame show. I will write a column off of the game. You know, this is from the press box, and between now and then, I'm doing the interviews with the coaches tomorrow, which normally James Duthie does, but he's consumed with World Cup soccer right now, so I get the opportunity to do the one-on-ones with the coaches that will air as part of the pregame show. I, with producer Matt Dunn, have put together a feature on Dalton Schoen. I went to Winnipeg about 3 weeks ago and did a sit-down with Dalton, and our producer and camera guy went to Kansas and met his family, and it's got a pretty interesting story, as a guy who was a walk-on at Kansas State and ended up with one of the basically one of the great deep threats at Kansas State. The way you see, it's funny. You think of deep threat guys as really big guys sometimes, right? But this guy has been a deep threat guy all his career, and really didn't consider himself a Division I football player. I just give you a little tease of that story. He grew up all his life worshiping Kansas State, but never thought he was a Division I guy. In his first game of high school in his senior year, he has 380 yards, and he says to himself, maybe I am a Division I guy. And that's the tape that he throws out. And teams are asking for 3 games of highlights, and he tells them, I got more in one game than anybody else got in 3.
Wow.
So, and he basically willed his way to a walk-on spot at Kansas State and didn't really get that confirmation until about April. So, it's a real interesting story for a guy who practiced for 2 years and never got on the field until, all of a sudden he did, and they couldn't get him off.
Well, for our U.S. viewers and listeners, ESPN2 will be carrying not only the game, but you guys' entire broadcast, because I watched it last year down in Boca Raton. And
awesome.
You're in America enough. They have the funniest takes about the CFL. Like Serena said to me, she goes, that Pruill, is that the only ref you guys have up there? Because he's so distinct.
Yes, absolutely.
Third down.
Third down.
Yeah.
And long-winded occasionally.
Now, it must kill you not to have the national radio shows to host on the Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
You and Sakaris were gold.
Yeah. I was really proud of that. I know there is
listening.
There is no national radio broadcast this year, unfortunately, which is kind of disappointing. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't mean to get a downer on that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I said to your guy Farhan, is it a disservice to the Argos and Bombers that we're sitting here talking about Bo and the Rourke so much? He didn't think so.
No, I've done because I got a few people on Twitter like, hey, what the heck, it's supposed to be a blackout or whatever. I don't believe in that at all. I just think more logs on the fire, man. Let's talk CFL. That's the only qualifier here. It doesn't have to be about the game. We're all going to talk about the game. We all know there's a game on Sunday. It's going to get our attention. I understand you don't want trades probably happening on the Thursday of Grey Cup week or something like that. But Monday and the Rourke stuff, to me, this is a week where we talk all things Canadian football, not just the game. So I'm for more logs on the fire. I think it's we don't live in a world where we can really control the conversation anymore anyway, right? That's kind of gone, right? So
tell some leagues that. I think they still think they can. But do you want to take a swing at our poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center? It is, will Bo Levi sign with the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Yes. And I don't have any inside information on this one. I saw his comments and things like that. I think generally the teams that make these trades are the most committed to getting the player. I would just say that. And I think Calgary said they talked to other teams. So obviously they got now there may have been a component of them that they didn't want to trade him in division. I can't say that Saskatchewan didn't make a better offer. I don't know that. But usually the teams that make these commitments sign the player. Because it's bad optics if they don't, right? There's actually a little bit of pressure on them now to get this done, even though they only gave up a third-round pick. And again, let's look at past situations, which are usually similar situations.
30 seconds.
A decent indicator of the future, right? Mike Riley's rights got traded to where? Edmonton. Where did he sign? Edmonton.
Right.
Nick Arbuckle's rights got traded to where? Ottawa. Where did he sign? Ottawa. James Franklin's rights got traded to where? Toronto.
That's how it goes.
Right. So 3 for 3. And in each of the cases, right, the guy, of course, you don't want to say, they're my property, I guess I got to sign. No, you're going to say you got options because you want to leverage that deal. Bo Levi Mitchell, I'll just say I'll be very surprised if he's not a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Thanks for this, Nails.
Hey, my pleasure. Good to see you.
Always good seeing you. Next up, Rod Smith, the voice of Kelsey's Roadhouse.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Nathan's going to get paid either way it goes. Now you have to pay. That's 2 to 3 guys on that team, or possibly 1 or 2 receivers that won't be there. Or I know Sook's one of your top-end, high-paid linemen, and you have other guys. So who are you getting rid of that's going to hinder the team to bring Nathan back? So when you look at the skill set of what he brings, it's going to be a lot less talent around him next year.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is the RP Show. We're coming in hot into hour 2, everybody. Welcome to Ballers Rec Room. I want to say it's the heart of Grey Cup festivities. The 109th CFL Championship game will be played Sunday at Mosaic Stadium, but the week is well underway. And we've had a lot of our great friends and guests come by this week here at Ballers. The biggest party of the week is here Friday night. We'll tell you more about that later. But we have the voice. The voice. If you're just tuning in on Game Plus or the podcast platforms or WQEE, Farhan, Lalji, and Dave Naylor were with us last hour. They're the appetizers.
The brains?
The appetizers, I said. We have the voice of the Grey Cup, Rod Smith. How you doing, buddy?
Rod Pedersen. It's truly the Rod Show now.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled to be on it.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the game.
By the way, are you a Roderick or a Rodney?
Rodney.
Okay, I'm a Roderick.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
We've never...
Although Matt Dunnigan calls me Rodney all the
what's
time.
What's Rod Black? Can he break the tie?
I think he's Rodney. I think he is as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Another fine gentleman.
Yeah, absolutely. Great
This
dude.
will not be your first Grey Cup.
No, I did it last year.
Yes,
Last year was my first, and what a way to start. I mean, the game, Ticats lead it, 12 points going into the fourth quarter. Winnipeg stays poised, come back, force overtime, and a dramatic ending. And I couldn't have asked for more. It was a thrill. And this is a different sort of thrill to call the game. But I think the only place I've never been to a Grey Cup is Saskatchewan. The last one I missed was 2013, and I would have loved to have been here when the Rough Riders won it.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a great day. Well, and I was just telling the guys about the lay of the land. Because we've changed and grown every time you guys come on. There's something new and something different, right? So we're on the radio in Metro Atlanta, WQEE, and in 31 states. So you can watch the game on ESPN2. But, of course, TSN will have it all across Canada in the entire pregame. How's your week? What does your week entail?
Well, it's different for me than when I hosted our studio show that Kate Burness hosts now. And when I did that, there was something to do every single day. It was busier. You started right on the Monday. This is more, I want to go to practice. I want to talk to players. I want to go to the award show. So I want to take in some of the pageantry of the week and the festivities and everything else. But a lot of it is just being here, being in place, and preparing. And it's not so much names and numbers anymore. We've all seen these teams so many times, those of us who've worked on the games. And it's just more about just notes and individual players, about the game itself. And the final couple of days, I'll probably be locked down in my hotel room and just getting ready for it and looking at a lot of their games and highlights from the course of the season. So a lot of it is just preparation for Sunday.
I feel like the last time you were on was we were going into this 2022 season, because you'd said, and a lot of guys had said, we're kind of past COVID in terms of regulation. It feels like a real season. So now that we're at the end of it, did it feel like a real season?
Absolutely. Last year was short, and remember, we didn't start till August 5th.
Yeah.
And it was over. What did go into December, but it was still a shorter season, and that felt different. But this one, it really was. It felt like 2019 again. I suppose some differences. The world's never going to be exactly the same coming out of this pandemic. We still see that now. But it did feel a lot more normal. It was great. It was, being able to go down to the field and talk to players.
Right.
That's something we couldn't do last year. We were told, go right to the booth, and you can't go from there. You're restricted. Go call the game, leave. And that changed this year. And it's been nice. It felt a lot more back to normal.
Okay. I got a million questions for you now. They're all popping into my head here. And the viewers, can we say for next segment, I'll get to your questions. I'm hogging these guys. I don't get to talk to them that often. So, you guys split up your crews last weekend for the division finals.
Yeah.
Why? How does that work?
I don't know. Our boss, Paul Graham, does the schedule in advance, and I'm sure he has his reasons why he likes to mix and match. So sometime, like this year, I've done games with Glenn Suter, done games with Dwayne Ford, and with Matt Dunnigan. And I don't mind the variety at all. They're all great guys. They all bring different skills to what they do in the booth. And I'll be with Glenn Suter for the call of this one. And Glenn has been, he's been doing it every time since we.
He's the GOAT.
Going back to 2008, and then before that too. Before, we got the Grey Cup rights. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know why.
You don't ask questions.
I don't ask questions. I just like I'm just glad to be involved, honestly. And I know that sounds like just a cliche answer, but it's true. And because I like and get along with them and appreciate them all, I don't mind the variety as well.
Well, so what I've learned, Rick, leaving this fine province, getting out, sampling the world, there's great CFL fans outside Saskatchewan.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm at a house party in Airdrie with Lions fans and Stamps fans. And we had a blast for the semifinal. And I'm like, watch the guys' ties here. They will never the crew will never match who's on the field. Correct?
Yes. And because we were talking before this about Twitter, and I'm a little, I'm not as crazy. Everybody gets, it's inevitable. You'll get hate on Twitter. And so at times I usually go in cycles where if the hate's a bit too much, then I get off of it for a little while and then I get back on. And I do remember a couple of times. There was one time that inadvertently I wore a tie. This was a couple of years ago, actually. And I think it was a red-black tie that I had, and Ottawa had been playing, and people knew I was originally from Ottawa. I was an old Ottawa Rough Rider fan, not a red.
Same thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, but I've been accused. But I do remember that. I do remember people were chirping in. Because I don't know if they came back and won. So, and when there's a comeback and something unexpected, there's always a little bit more excitement in your voice. You know it. You've done years of play-by-play, and I bet you
can't hide it.
You've been criticized as well for favoring one team over the other. So. But it's funny you mention that. It's funny you notice that because it's true. Very careful. Or what I'll do is, for example, I haven't decided. I brought some options out for ties, things like that. I don't mind there being blue in the tie because it's the Argos and the Blue Bombers.
Yeah, you'll be fine there.
But not blue and gold and not blue and light blue. I mean, so you believe me, you do think of those things, probably going with something different, maybe red. I actually brought some green ties out, and I thought that might be a
good
nice
place
touch.
to wear it.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought this is the place to do it.
Yeah, well, listen, I didn't pick it up on my own. Suter told me. I'm not that bright. I took too many pucks off the head. Suter said I don't think he owns a green tie. He just won't wear it because he gets so much, you know.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
Ted in Red Deer. No, it's Nelson. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in. He says, we always talk and hear about players' routines. What does game day look like for Rod Smith from morning to game time? Again, for those that just tuned in, he will call the 109th Grey Cup this Sunday.
Okay.
What's your day?
There are a number of things. I always try to get away from cramming, and it's not as big of a problem late in the season because I'm comfortable with names and numbers and schools and situations, everything like that. You just absorb it over the course of the season. But I will, as much as I do prep earlier in the week, I always do, whether I need it or not, I start to cram frantically day of. It's kind of a routine, and I feel comfortable with it. Not a panic, but just wanting to make sure, is there anything else that I missed? You know, I'd love to tell you I have that comfortable moment, go have breakfast, and everything is ready. As Matt Dunnigan would say, the hay's in the barn, no problem. I don't care how prepared I am. I always feel like I have to go back and look at something. And what helps me, and I started to do, and I don't know, I'm sure this has been done many times, and maybe you did it, but I will draw up a chart of positions and just put numbers and color code it. And that's of the depth chart. And so I'll have it down on a sheet of paper, and I'll sometimes walk around in the hotel room, and I've got to the point where I want to see a number and see a name. So no names are written down. So I see a number, I see a name, and I just walk around and I just speak it out loud, and I'll just go through all the numbers. That's them. So by the time, to me, the number one thing was that I never want to go through, because I was doing junior hockey years ago and wasn't familiar enough with the roster. And I never forgot that lesson, because I don't know if you ever went through his panic moment.
Of course.
Who is this? And you're looking.
Not a good feeling.
No, it's not. It's terrible. And so to me, the number one priority is, if I see a number, it's a name. I don't even need to see letters. The number tells me who it is, and body type and everything else too. But once I have that down, then I feel good to go. And I have a routine when I get to the stadium in the booth. I like to take my binoculars out, and just when they're in warm up, and I just go through. And I just speak the names. Just speak the names all along, and then I envision scenarios too.
What about the moneymaker? You ever worried about losing the voice?
I've been asked about that before. It actually happened. It happened to me once. You know, we've done lots of games with sore throats. Again, I'm sure you have, but a sore throat you don't lose your voice. It happened once in 2002. I was doing CFL play-by-play for the Ottawa Renegades in their first year. First year CFL's back in Ottawa against the BC Lions. And I lost my voice. And it sounded, while I was calling it, it just sounded like, and there's Ottawa, Coach Joe Pow Pow.
Your voice would still be deeper than most others, but anyways.
But it was, but that I, aside from that, no. And in terms of care, just drinking lots of water. But aside from that, quite honestly, I don't do much different.
Well, it's pretty cool, because this is a trade. It's an art. Mm-hmm. Some people seem to think anybody can do it, but not anybody can do it, as you know. Peter Marr, guys like that, all those legendary voices. Have tea, have vinegar, have honey, have whatever. Everybody has their own little thing, and just protect it more than anything. Mandy's watching in Edmonton. She says, it feels like Football Friday on a Wednesday. You're welcome. Ta-da. That's what's great about this show. And I said it's going to be CFL all week long. Garnet in North Battleford says, who is doing the color with Rod Smith on TSN for the Grey Cup? Go ahead.
Glenn Suter.
And how many will have been for him?
For him, well, for us, this is 14. I believe this is the 14th that TSN has done. So this will be his 14th. Yeah, because 2008 we missed one in 2020, so it'll be number 14. So he's going in the Hall of Fame, the FRC Hall of Fame, for a tremendous body. Well, not only great body work as a player, but also as a broadcaster as well. 27 years.
He was a great player. There's no doubt about it. Hey, can you take a swing at our poll question today, which is for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center? They have dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Will Bo Levi Mitchell sign with the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
I think he will, for a couple of reasons. One, I just can't imagine that the Ticats would do this without having a good idea, ballpark, what it's going to take to please him, including money, and not just money, too. I mean, their OC is Tommy Condell. I mean, I think Bo, and he's said this too, he wants to be satisfied not only with a contract, but the situation that he's getting into, the players around him, everything else. So that's going to matter. And he wants to go to free agency and test it out. But I just get the feeling, and I know you talked to Dave Naylor earlier about this too, based on precedent, it would just be odd to me to make that move and then not be able to sign him. I also think he needs a change. I mean, he's legendary in Calgary, but I think it probably at this stage for him, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get out of the West and into a division that, with due respect to the four teams, and I've covered them a lot, the way they started this year, there was such an imbalance. I think ultimately it got more competitive, but for a while, it's an easier division, I think, historically anyway, to dominate in, I think. And I think that Hamilton team is not far away.
Okay, I got to stop you because I defer to your football knowledge. You played university football, right?
Yes.
Were you a center?
I was a center, then a tackle at Queen's University.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a hockey guy first, so I don't really like analyzing the players. To be honest, my 20 years with the Riders was somewhat stressful because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'll defer to you with Bo. Did you see the downgrade that everybody tells me they didn't have it anymore? Physically? Was it that evident?
Last year, I think it was, because he was hurting. This year, I didn't think it was that, and he talked about it. We talked about him to him several times, that his arm felt good, the shoulder felt good. So no, and I still think he has gas in the tank. I really do. He's a smart
fire
quarterback.
in his belly.
Oh, he does. and I think I didn't notice it as much this year, and I was a little surprised because when the move was made in Toronto and Mayer came in and led them back to victory, that Dave Dickinson went to Mayer again in Winnipeg shortly after, and I don't think there were any regrets over the decision. I think Jake Mayer is going to be a fine young quarterback, but it surprised me a bit only because, from my standpoint, I still think that Bo Levi Mitchell has it. He's had a bad couple of years.
We got 2 minutes here. I guess you can stay for another segment if that's cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. But 2 minutes in this segment. Cody Fajardo. I've been accused of just loving my guys too much. I love Darian. I love Cody, but I don't see it for what it is. So what is it with Cody?
Well, oh boy.
I'm sorry. Are these two poignant questions?
No. I'm just seeing him play a lot too, and I know what you're saying. I like him, and I think he's a CFL quarterback. Maybe not
a good one.
He is. I don't know what his future is in Saskatchewan right now. Obviously, well talked about, and maybe he needs a change of environment as well. But I still remember him in 2019 when he emerged and did so well. I think there are times like Dane Evans. I think sometimes they're their own worst enemies, trying to do too much, almost trying so hard. And in situations like with Cody, when his protection is breaking down, I think he has a bit of a stubborn streak to him. But I also think he's a talented QB, and he has shown that in green and white over the years. So I certainly wouldn't be ready to give up on him. But I can, there were other issues, I think, on that offense, too. I mean, including the injuries and especially up front. And, I don't know, that one, because I do think of Dane Evans and Hamilton, too. And to tie along with Bo Levi Mitchell, where's Dane Evans going to end up if Bo ends up signing in Hamilton? And I don't know. I think they're good quarterbacks. I still believe in Cody Fajardo, but it just may not be in Saskatchewan anymore.
Good. I'm not crazy. Well,
I don't. And I know you've been backing him.
Yeah.
I've seen him play too many really strong games to just give up on the guy.
Your questions next with the voice of the 109th Grey Cup, Rod Smith, right after this. You're watching on Game Plus Television, your favorite podcast platform, YouTube Live, of course, and on the Key, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. How about that? That's hot. Approved. Let's go.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Spicy. Lot of sun. Smoky in the air. That's a lot of fun. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall. Or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back, resulting in partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps. Find out more at WorksafeSask.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We are live from Ballers Rec Room. As you see, that's just outside Mosaic Stadium. That is where the 109th Grey Cup will be played this Sunday. Rod Smith will call it. He joins us from TSN. And there's a machine gun of questions coming. So before I get to yours, can I just say that Kelsey's Roadhouse. What's the story behind those ads that you're the voice of? Do you get free steaks there?
No. Well, it's funny. I do remember. I'm kind of. You know, you might think I'm crazy. I'm a little bit bashful about that, just going out asking for. I don't know. I just am. So Matt once said, we were done a game in Hamilton, and he said, he goes, there's a Kelsey's near. Do you want to? And I thought, sure, let's go to Kelsey's after the game. So anyway, we were sitting down, and Matt is, of course, he doesn't care. He's saying to our
this
server,
is the guy.
You know who this guy is? Yeah. And anyway, so eventually manager comes over, and yes, we do get comped, but that was more Matt's doing than mine.
I love it. I
had a few friends. One lifelong friend who used to be in the company that owned that company and said, would you mind doing some? So I asked my bosses, and they said, fine, because they're advertising on TSN. And that was kind of important because it's been tricky doing voiceover gigs for competitors that compete against the advertiser on TSN. I've been turned down. I've been denied being able to do that for that reason, and I get it. I understand it. But this one worked out, and so it's been.
And they still run today.
And they still do, yeah.
Mandy in Edmonton wants to know what you are looking forward to the most this week.
Yeah, the easy answer is kickoff. When it begins, there is an adrenaline rush for this guy I'm a football fan. I'm not a fan of either team, not a fan of any team now, but I am a fan of the stories, of the game, of the intensity, of the passion. I'm a fan of the fact that I know these players care. I know there are fans there that care very deeply about what happens in this game. It means a lot. And I feel that. I get that vibe. It's the same thing. I remember doing some Olympics and got the same vibe, even though I didn't know a lot about swimming, spent a year preparing. But when I finally got into an Olympics, to call an Olympic finals in London, it's something, I was trying to describe this to some friends. It's like a tangible commodity in the air. There's tension, almost like whether it's oxygen. You know what I mean? It's almost something that physically exists, even though it doesn't. It's a more spiritual thing.
You can feel it.
And when that rush, anthem, flyover, everything else, fans, that's what I look forward to. The moment when it starts and it stays on that level pretty much for the entire game. And then I hope it's close. I hope it's dramatic. I love good stories, and I love to watch a good game.
Well, speaking of that, Kevin, my friend Kevin in Airdrie, he's a medium. He says, what's the one game that you would put up as the best that you've ever called?
Wow. Because I haven't called as many. Wow. I'm going to have to, because of the magnitude of the moment, and I don't know if it's the best one I called, it's the one that meant the most, and that was Grey Cup last year.
Yeah.
And it, as I say, it contributed in the drama. The storylines were incredible. Right up until Mazzoli comes in. And talk about, I'm always thinking ahead to stories. And I thought, what a spot for redemption when Dane Evans gets hurt. And Evans had redeemed himself the week before in Toronto, going 16 for 16 when Steinauer pulled Mazzoli and led them back from a 12-0 deficit, and they go on to win, and then they go home to get another crack at Winnipeg. And Evans gets hurt, unfortunately, and Mazzoli comes in and nearly leads them to a victory. It was a great play by Dietrich Nichols at the goal line and Jalen Acklin. And if he's able to complete that pass, if Acklin gets that ball, I'm trying to imagine the story. And this is nothing against Winnipeg or pro Hamilton. As I say, I'm pro story. And to be there, the long drought, last win, 1999, it was all there. And it was a great Bomber story, too. But I just thought the back and forth, the wind, the factor it was in, just all those storylines just made it so compelling to me that, as you know from having done so much play-by-play, it's the ultimate way to get wrapped up in a sporting event. You feel like you're becoming part of it as you describe it. And that's just such a cool feeling.
And the fans and viewers feel like you are too.
Yeah.
And that's cool too.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know what? And that's a compliment. If that's the case, if that's what, even if they, if they say they enjoy the game or they enjoyed the coverage and they never mention you specifically or anything else, that's a huge compliment. If you were able to help them enjoy the game, that's all that matters to me. I would, so. But I think that might have been an easy one, low-hanging fruit. But I'm gonna say
no, it's not low. But I'm thinking about. I remember watching it in Florida.
It was compelling.
Well, Jeff Reinbold's my dude.
Yeah.
Special teams coordinator of Hamilton.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Well, I feel like he was let go because of their decision to
Tim White take a knee and make it a 3-point game.
Yes.
Yeah. And he had room. Well, what really made that worse, so White takes a knee, gives up another point. If you look at the shot, it looks like he had 15, 20 yards to get it out anyway. The wind was such a factor and they were against it. But lo and behold, what do? Starting further up after he conceded the point, they drove the field, and which made it was great for Hamilton, but it probably made it more frustrating. Thinking, if you could drive the field, why did you give up the point? That was the second guessing that went on afterwards, but because then they could have kicked the field goal to win, as opposed to need the field goal to force overtime.
Big, very big. Yeah. It was the game, actually.
Yeah.
So for this Sunday, that's where every game's exciting. Mm-hmm. Every game's exciting, right? But the one thing, I could sit here and tell you my stories forever, but Ken Austin, all year in 2007, and you've been around, Ken, you're a CFL guy. Ken's special. He's different. Yeah. He's just different than everybody else. In every game, when I said, does this game mean a lot to you? Your first game, Kent, as your coach, does this Labor Day feel the most? And he always said, it's just a game, Rod. It's just a game. None of them are more important than any others. And we hosted a playoff game that year for the first time in 23 years. I'm like, is this special game? It's just a game, Rod. And he looks at you like, you're the biggest idiot in the world, the way he talks to you. And then the morning of the Grey Cup in Toronto, 2007, I'm like, let me guess, Kent, it's just a game, right? It's a championship, Rod. It's not just a game.
How about that?
He always kept you guessing. You're always on your toes with him.
I hear you. I know a few people like that.
Right.
A few coages.
So
no matter what you say, it's wrong, right? So.
They get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
So this Sunday, we don't know who the heroes are going to be. We don't know how it's going to go, and that's what's special about it.
It is. Yeah. And Grey Cups are like, just someone. As they game plan against each other and they're anticipating, like, you'd be thinking Dalton Schoen, be thinking Andrew Harris now that he's back, and of course, Collaros. And those, it could be someone obscure, someone that's hardly had any catches all year. We've seen that kind of thing.
Not somebody you expect.
Exactly. And that to me, that's part of what makes the game so compelling at all. By the way, do we have time?
We got lots of time.
Okay, you mentioned Ken Austin. And this wasn't I didn't call this one. This was the legendary Don Whitman and Ron Lancaster that called this one, 1989, when Saskatchewan beat Hamilton. That's one of my, as I say, being detached, not being a fan of either team, that's one of my favorite Grey Cups ever. It was the first one that I attended in person.
Were you as a fan or were you working?
I was working. I was at CBC. I was at CBC Radio, and I was just filing hourly reports. And one of them, on the before the final drive, after the Tony Champion touchdown that I think had tied it at 40 for Hamilton, which was just one of the great catches in the history of the game. I don't know if you remember Champion. He got all.
Do I remember?
Yeah,
I was watching at my cousin Nancy's place. I was in grade 11. Of course. Yeah. What do you think, man? Yeah. I'm from here.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And for the Riders, and that was the thing. And that game was so back and forth. And I remember thinking, once again, even then, just loving the story, loving the drama. And I had a cell phone, big honking cell phone, and Bill Baker, who had been the GM of the Riders and then became the president of the CFL, commissioner. Yeah. And he's supposed to be impartial, but come on. And
he had a green tie on that day.
Exactly. So, but I did. We're live on CBC Radio, and I gave him the phone. I asked him a question, gave him the phone during a timeout, I guess, during that final drive. And he was shouting into the phone, and he was just like a kid. He was just so excited. I guess, yes, for the CFL to have a showcase like this, but his Riders are driving down the field.
And a team he built.
Yes. Yeah. And then it was was it Bob Poley, the long snapper, and Glenn Suter, the holder, and Dave Ridgway, the kicker. And I've talked to Suits many times about that story leading up to that field goal. But that game was epic. I mean, there have been a few ones that have just been so memorable to me.
Well, fans that aren't even fans of the Riders and Ticats think that's number one.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, 94 was special.
Yeah. Dude. 87, Edmonton-Toronto was one of those games where if something crazy could happen, it would happen.
Well, you were asking me, and these guys have been nice enough to ask about this show, and for 6 months we do it from the Grey Eagle Resort in Calgary.
Right.
Tom Cochran was on in that chair 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about this. And I said, Tom, you played halftime of the 94 Grey Cup. He remembered. And I said, it says you played Life is a Highway at halftime. He goes, well, we played a few more.
Yeah.
But
that's the song, though. So
that's the one everybody remembers.
Exactly.
But that might be my number two.
Yeah.
That was the Canada-America thing.
I was just going to say, the circumstances of that game were huge. With an American-based team that doesn't have to observe the Canadian ratio. They didn't have to have Canadians on their team. And there was a certain amount, for those of us, there was a bit of nationalist pride there. And yes, they're American.
For the whole country, for a few.
Yeah, I was going to say, for
all of Canada.
Sure, there are Americans playing in the BC Lions, but it's different. The CFL tradition has both and mandates a certain number of Canadians. That's part of the deal. And for BC, taking them on, coming down the Passaglia field goal, I must admit, I don't know, I wouldn't rank that in my top 2 or 3, although the circumstances were really memorable.
It did come down to the last field goal. And I'll never forget, I was watching it in Prince Albert because there was a Canadian flag waving between the uprights in that end zone when Lou nailed it. Yeah, so I know what you're saying.
And to do it on home field, to do it at home as well, which is always special.
Sold out BC Place.
Absolutely.
05 double overtime. Montreal Edmonton was pretty cool.
Danny Machocha running on the field after second down, right?
I know.
And as he explained it, because I asked him about it earlier this year, a good coach always stays ahead. So.
That's what he said. How many times do you think he's said that?
Oh, yeah,
probably many times. So CFL's in good shape as far as you're concerned.
I mean, until I hear otherwise. I mean, I'm not as in tune to the business side of things. But all I can say is this: I have been a fan for so many years of this game. I grew up with it. And I remember some dark times in the 80s, and I remember 96 in Hamilton when the Ottawa Rough Riders folded and the American expansion was over. And I remember how dire things seemed to be, down to an 8-team league, and we'd already been through it with Montreal. And the league rallied, it bounced back, and the tradition continues. So from what I see right now, I mean, and I'm not probably not the best person to ask about the financial, the money end of things, but I mean, there are always challenges. I mean, getting more fans in Toronto. What is happening in BC now has been, and I know Nathan Rourke's a big part of it, but
it's showing it can be done.
But it can be done. I think what Amar Doman's done there is outstanding, and And, you know, at the playoff game in Montreal, I mean, maybe in the regular season, it's not quite the way it was in the 2000s. I mean, I see hope. I always do. I'm an optimistic person, and it sure looks like it's in good shape to me. I mean, until I see otherwise, until I see evidence that, teams are for sale and you can't find people to buy them or anything like that. I mean, just my observation of it, I enjoyed it.
Well, you're doing a great job. And I'll leave you with this. From Randolph, who's watching in Toronto on Game Plus Television, says Rod is up there with the greats like Pat Marsden, Don Whitman, Don Chevrier, and Grey Cup Broadcasting. And I would concur, man.
That is. Yeah. And I think the one guy who's been a mentor to me is Chris Cuthbert. And those guys are, to me, I thank you for that. That's a huge, you have no idea how much of a compliment that is. That said, I mean, I grew up Chevrier, Marsden, Whitman, and later, worked with CC, who's just called so many and did such a fabulous job. So if I could get even close someday to them, that would be a dream.
There's a reason you're in that chair. So enjoy the week, and
I appreciate it.
Take care of the money
Yes,
maker.
I will.
The great Rod Smith. Do we have the Duke next? All right. The Duke will join us next, live from Ballers Rec Room. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to a permanent disability. Take safer steps. Learn more at WorkSafeSask.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
You are looking live at Ballers Rec Room, site of the biggest and best party this Grey Cup week, Friday night. Check all of our social media feeds where you can get tickets. Who do we got coming? Well, Derek Duke Meyers. Let's get the camera on this guy. One of my oldest compadres, co-hosts. Remember when we sat and talked about launching this show? Remember that?
Oh, man.
Come a long way, buddy.
So long ago when I got that first text. Hey, I'm doing a show. I think I need you to come on.
You said, what are we going to talk about? I said, we'll figure it out when you get there.
Yeah, in your office, your old office there.
That's right. We're taking meetings. This gentleman now, sportscaster to the stars, geologist.
Yeah.
Now a member of the Legislative Assembly in the province of Saskatchewan. So congratulations. I get asked about you a lot.
Huh.
How's the Duke? I said, he is on top of the world.
Yeah.
Am I right when I say that?
You know what? It is. I've had a blessing, literally, and this sounds so corny. I got to be a sportscaster for like a decade, which, let's face it, it's not a real job. We get to go and hang out at the rink in the football stadium every day. So that was fantastic. And now doing this and working for the people of the province, it is awesome. I wake up every day and go, man, like I'm truly blessed to have had these careers. So yeah, I love it.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, it's fun. You've been with me a lot of these Grey Cup. This is my 21st, and we started. Where we broadcast live from? For sure, we were counting it down in the break. Vancouver was the most memorable 2011 for a myriad of reasons, and go.
Well, we did Vancouver. What was after that? Toronto 2012 was also great. Of course, 2013 here was, I mean, that's the cherry on top. If you're
Rough
covering
Rider fan,
the Riders and at home, and last one at Mosaic Stadium, the old Mosaic. And I mean, yeah, that was as good as it gets. But we were also involved. I mean, like think back to 2009. When you
13th man, Calgary,
13th
yes.
man, Edmonton, freezing, like absolutely freezing the berries off out there in Edmonton. That one. I mean, people always say, "Oh, it's gonna be so cold in Regina." Evidently, they weren't at 2010 Grey Cup in Edmonton.
It was ridiculous.
That was awful. So, yeah, it's been well over a decade. We're approaching. I think this is going to be my 8th or 9th Grey Cup.
Well, God bless you. We got to get you down to Atlanta sometime. What do you say, Rhino Radio? He's flying the ship down there, WQEE right now, or South Florida, where they love football, and they're enjoying these stories. But I should ask you this, the game Sunday. Have you thought about it at all?
I have, and I think I'm in the boat that most people are, and that is not the boatman's boat.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg just looks. This is a really, really good football team, and I know I'm gonna have to wash my mouth out with soap after saying that, but there's not a lot of holes in there. The only kind of X factor is it's a one game. And if Andrew Harris is healthy and appears to be, after last weekend, that man carries a pretty big chip on his shoulder, and he has shown the ability over his career to be able to take over a game. If Toronto can get him involved early and utilize him, I think that makes a massive difference to keep them in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you just go from Collaros to that receiving core to Willie Jefferson, Adam Bighill, the experience that team has, O'Shea has, Richie Hall. I mean, how many rings does Richie Hall have?
Defensive coordinator of Winnipeg has 5.
It's like him and Tom Brady kind of up
close
there for championships. He's that guy. There's a lot of experience on that Winnipeg sideline and on that field, and boy, it's a tall order for Toronto for sure.
Okay. I just opened the 902 line, 902-518-3033 for the first time today. So you can text us right here. From Allie in Edmonton, she says, morning RP, Duke, and everyone really enjoying this week of Grey Cup chat on the show, watching live on break from Edmonton. Enjoy the week. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate that.
She could be here. It's a 7-hour drive.
I know, right?
Jump in the car. The roads are good.
She's good. She's good. Tucked away in the warmth. Jeff Gordon in Yorktown, Sask. Road whites for the Bombers, as they typically are the away team at Mosaic and have won lots in them. Just a random take. Do we know what the jerseys will be? When do they announce that?
I think Winnipeg's announced they're going to wear the whites. And the boatmen, I believe, and I don't know this for fact, but might go dark tops with the baby blues in the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, the powder blues. Kind of like the
Both
RP show.
Wonderful uniforms and color schemes.
Yeah, you know what? I might break out, and you might like this story, but I still have, from 1991, my Toronto Argonaut number 25.
So great.
Rocket Ishmael jersey.
Ragib.
And I remember coming to the game here. And we were the very top of the west side. Like, I was the last row. Dad brought us, and I think my brother and sister. And we went into the Rider store. Remember, it was just like that little corner, bunker that was the Rider store back then. And they were selling Rocket jerseys. And John Candy was here, walking the sideline. Like you want to talk about the Pope of Chili Town.
I interviewed him.
I mean, what an experience. What an excitement around. And Dad caved and bought me the Rocket Ishmael jersey. And I still have it, so I might have to break that out.
That'd be a great idea.
I don't know that my grade 9 body and my 45-year-old body here are quite the same, but I could probably stuff myself into it.
Stop the presses. We were in Phoenix, Arizona, or specifically Glendale, Arizona. Same year, 2011.
2011.
Like a week after that Grey Cup, we're watching the Dallas Cowboys. We aged 10 to 20 years in 10 days. Anyways, Dallas Cowboys at the Arizona Cardinals, and if you remember, that was when Jason Garrett iced his own kicker.
Yes, I do.
And we lost in overtime as Cowboys fans, and you ripped off your Deion Sanders Cowboys and you threw it. And I'm like, no, you're going to get us kicked out of here? And the security guard grabbed it and brought it back up to you.
Yeah.
That's how nice they are in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah, that was very hospitable of them after they had just stuck it to us Cowboy fans.
Yes.
Yeah, in overtime. That was like a big run right off tackle in overtime. Oh, man.
Yeah. Craig in Calgary says, Bo Levi Mitchell coming in and executing during the fourth quarter 2 weeks ago shows how strong his arm is and what a tactician he can be. He just needs his receivers to get with him again. That's from Craig in Calgary. And on the heels of that, Kirk, watching in Saskatoon, says, who, in your opinion, is going to be playing quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders next season? Is it possible Cody Fajardo returns?
You know what? I just don't think so. I mean, Cody Fajardo, by all accounts, is a really nice guy. But he just has not been able to get it done over the last couple of years. And I've said it from the start of this year. Cody Fajardo is an average quarterback in this league. And that's not a shot at who he is. That's just a shot at the talent. He had a horrible offensive line. They couldn't protect him. And you could just see that it affected him. And I just don't think he's back. I don't think under any scenario do you run back that back. Is Mason Fine the guy? I mean, it's hard to tell again if you don't have an offensive line. Jake Dolagala, I mean, when I saw him in there, I mean, that's a big kid that's got a wicked live arm that a guy would like to have a look at. I think one of the biggest things is, and I don't know how much it's going to get talked about this week, is the salary cap and the staff cap and the ability for these guys not to go down to the States and recruit like they used to be able to recruit. And I think it's really showing up right now. I mean, we've got one or two quarterbacks that you would consider stars. Remember when the league was really, really humming? You had Calvillo and Ray, and go back, Tracy Ham, Damon Allen, all these guys, Ken Austin, even Darian Durant, electric quarterbacks. And we just don't have that at the present time. Nathan Rourke, I mean, looks like, well, what if he's gone next year to the NFL? I think the league has to take a hard look at what they're doing when it comes to this cap on staff and the not ability to go down and have these training camps ahead of time. I mean, we went to Florida there with Chris Jones. I mean, and you see the work that can be put in, and you see the difference in the product on the field. And I just think they got to get back to that. So when it comes to the Riders quarterback, I just don't think we see him back. What happens in Hamilton if Bo Levi indeed does sign there? Although I see he's talking about waiting for free agency anywhere. But is it a Dane Evans? Is it what's the big tall kid there? Tim.
Where?
Schlitz?
Matthew Schiltz.
Matthew Schiltz. Thank you. Tim Schlitz. Sounds like
I don't know what you're thinking.
Sounds like a referee from the NHL. But Matthew, Schultz. So there's options out there. I just don't think after everything that happened this year that you can run it back with Cody.
By the way, my cousin Christine is watching in Medicine Hat. And she said that was the best NFL game ever. She said I was at that game. Only NFL game I've been at. So much fun.
Talking about the Cardinals Cowboys?
Yeah.
Ah, jeez.
I apologize for any condition him and I might have been in. We almost got shot in the parking lot after that, remember?
Oh, there was an incident.
I was buying those tall boys.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some.
Yeah.
There was some
From some shady-looking guys with less than honorable intentions, but they were selling tall boys for like $10 each.
Well, we were thirsty.
We'll take them. We were thirsty.
It's the desert.
We were trying to hydrate. Yeah.
Wow.
It's Arizona.
Can you imagine? What a difference now, 10 years, 12 years later.
People can change.
For the better.
When we come back, you good for one more segment?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Whatever you want. We'll talk about tonight's NHL slate. A little NFL, whatever you'd like, because we turn it over to the viewer in Viewer Takeover next. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, and on the radio, on the Key, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. Spicy. Bingo. Beautiful.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
It is the final segment of the RP Show on this Wednesday of 109th Grey Cup week. We are live from Ballers Rec Room, and let's bring him in, the Duke, Derek Meyers. And I wasn't even... Shocking, we got talking. I haven't looked at the questions, Duke. So aside from the 109th Grey Cup, I'd like to know where your sports viewing menu is these days.
Yeah, I have become a major player in the Formula One world.
Because of Drive to Survive?
No, I haven't watched one episode of that. I've always, you know me, I've watched every sports all the time or whatever. But in the last year and a half to 2, I have really, like I'm watching qualifying. I'm watching the sprint. I'm watching the race tip to tail. F1, I've become really obsessed. Of course, NASCAR, still big. NFL Sundays, locked in. Notre Dame football Saturdays. My hockey viewing is definitely down. It just
Why?
is. It's, you know what? It's kind of like baseball. I'll start tuning in as we start to ratchet it up to the playoffs. But it's just too much filler. I honestly, there's just, the NFL, the CFL, every week matters. It really does. You can't blow a lot of weeks. If you're the Dallas Cowboys and you go out and lay a turd in the fourth quarter against Green Bay, you might not make the playoffs because you screwed up for 15 minutes. So that matters. The urgency matters. Major League Baseball, I'll watch in the playoffs because every pitch matters. The urgency matters. And same with the NHL. But, it's a lot to ask of fans, I think, to invest in 80 or 160 games. So, that's kind of where I'm watching. The CFL is, I'm always intrigued with the off seasons, and I see you got the Stampeders bell. Why is there no noise? Why is there no noise going on in this city right now about where Mark Mueller is and the chance of him coming here to be the offensive coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? Why are we not talking about that?
I hope you don't expect an answer from me.
No, I know, but somebody's got to come here, and that was obviously one of the biggest deficiencies that this green and white team had.
I think the name's Kyle Jeffrey. I got this call the other day from one of the insiders. Okay. You follow what I do.
Yeah.
They said he's going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Rough Riders. He's the only guy in the offensive staff they didn't fire.
Okay.
Kyle Jeffrey. Never heard of him, but just keep that in mind.
I will keep that in mind. What did Lynch say? I saw him on your Instagram.
John Lynch, disappointed.
I can't tell you how much pleasure it brings me to see him pop into my feed.
John Frenzy, the Don Cherry of football.
Yeah.
Was at his house the other day.
Bless his heart.
That's the way he talks 24/7. Surprised. You know how he talks.
I love it.
Did you weren't with me in Arizona when he came on that sports trip, were you?
No.
I think he came because you didn't.
No,
and he
I
co-hosted
did not.
with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, let me tell you one thing. We are going to go to Atlanta for Ryan O'Radia that's flying the ship right now at WQEE. The NHL scouts in the Saddledome are saying, when I see them in the press box, they're like, Atlanta, are you going to go to Atlanta? Are you going to visit Atlanta? I said, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? Great sports town.
Fantastic.
But I've only been there sporadically, not for long periods of time. South Florida, different story. So like in Alberta, where they talk Flames, Oilers, Flames, Flames, Oilers, Flames.
Yep.
Or here where it's Rough Riders. Can you imagine a place where it's Dolphins?
Wow.
24/7, win or lose.
I mean, not only do they have an exciting team, Tua's chucking it all over, but when you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and you can just tell people when that guy gets up and does the waddle, my 6-year-old's like, Dad.
Everybody's into it.
Oh, my 6-year-old's into it. He wanted to watch the other day, so he's getting into football now a little bit. He's like, Dad, I want to watch that Dolphins game.
I know.
There's a buzz.
Personality.
Yes.
They're like Cheese Whiz. They've got personality. I was talking to a guy the other day from South Beach, where you've been, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I would just send Tyreek Hill on a streak every play. No, they can't cover him.
No.
He runs 21.5 miles an hour. So the point is, if I wear a Dolphins hat, a shirt, anywhere to get gas, it's like here. You go anywhere, it's, what'd you think of the game?
Yeah.
Should Tua play? You know what I mean? It's 24/7. There's 3 all sports radio stations, and all they talk about is the Dolphins. They have a Major League Baseball team there, Derek, but you wouldn't know.
They have a hockey team, a pretty good hockey team.
They talk more about the Panthers on that particular station, WQAM.
But you know what it's like in Dallas. It's the same thing. It's like, they got baseball teams, they got basketball. It's Cowboys. It's Cowboys. You can't miss it.
It's king.
Yeah. You know what? Shout out Jake Kaspersky. Guy lives in Regina here. Massive Miami Dolphins fan.
There are a few.
There are some, but yeah, Jake Kaspersky, I've had the pleasure to meet him, and his garage is a bit of a northern mecca to the Finns. I'll say that.
It's interesting. It is an interesting area right here, the rectangle. Because what popped into my mind, was he a Kaspersky from Weyburn?
No, not the sports star. I know what you're talking about. Where Lonnie Hoyam first cut his teeth selling skates.
Yep.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah, Kaspersky's. My dad used to date. It's a long story. Used to date. Yeah.
Wow.
Mandy in Edmonton. She says, I miss John Frenzy. Please bring him on as a guest, RP show. We can't, and it's not up to us. Please stop asking. I say that with all respect. If it was up to us, we would. Believe me, we would. And for the people in Atlanta right now, the biggest Falcons fan around here is producer Clark. Did you know that?
I did not
the
know
good
that.
times,
Hell
the
yes.
bad times. Oh, yeah.
I did not know that. So he's like a 28-3 is a haunting number for that guy.
Oh, no. We don't bring that up. Oleg in Winnipeg says, I'm surprised Florida's not talking about Paul Maurice and the Panthers. Some sections of South Florida are talking about Paul Maurice and the Panthers. They're getting great crowds. But I watched those games. They beat Washington last night 5-2. And did you come with me to South Florida? You weren't on that trip in 2015. No. Oh, it's so great. That arena is so awesome when it's full.
And again, when you talk about exciting, I mean, they've got... In fact, I think the entire NHL, it is as good a product as I've seen in a long time. With the excitement, the dynamic players, and every night you could tune into SportsCenter, and it's going to be a goal that you go, wow. Like, how did that guy do that? Or who is this guy? Or, it used to be once in a while you'd see, every single night, McDavid, Barkov, even Patrice Bergeron, like all these guys. And I've, we've heard Gretzky talking about it. He's like, these guys are doing things that we never would even tried back in the day.
But it was better then.
Yeah.
But,
well,
it was. But I hear this a lot, especially being in Calgary, which is a hockey town.
Yeah.
They're like, well, the woke NHL, the woke WHL, I won't watch it. And I'm like, well, I just love it too much. I couldn't not watch it.
Because there's not enough grind to it. There's not enough dirt to it.
Political last minute of play in the RP show. The politically politicized hockey leagues. Sort of like the NFL. They were doing their thing, particularly during the pandemic. And now, if you notice, they aren't. Right? There's not as much political infiltration of NFL games as there were. And I'm not sure there is. I don't notice that stuff in hockey. I'm just telling you what I hear.
I haven't either. But I mean, when you're in the cities that have
you
the
hear
teams,
it more.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. Okay.
Duke, I appreciate you coming down.
Hey,
It's a
man.
nice surprise.
This is awesome.
Give my best to your boss. I love him.
I will. I'll say hi today.
The old Scotch Meister. Okay. Thank you to Rod Smith, Dave Naylor, Farhan Lalji, Derek Meyers. That's quite the lineup.
That is a
there.
heck of a lineup.
Great job, producer Clark, lining him up. I have no idea who's coming in tomorrow. So tune in noon Eastern right here on Game Plus and WQEE, and have a safe 24 hours, everybody.
Who has more fun than us?
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. Hot. That's hot. Hot damn. Hot take. LFG. Let's go.